So let's start today's session. And this is one of my favorite topics, and you can just invite me anytime and ask me to talk about it. I can do that while I'm sleeping also. Before I get into this, I just want to understand from you people what exactly is web analytics as per you. That's right, more or less, you guys have already nailed it. So I won't go into a lot of detail, but it's all about tracking each and every action that a user is doing while he's on your web portals, right? Now, what has happened is over the time, the web portals have increased a lot. Earlier, it used to be only a desktop website. Now it's a mobile site. Now there are applications. There are separate applications for Android versus iPhone, right? So, and what a few companies, they have a strategy is they keep the same look and feel across all devices. And then, of course, there are companies who are just keeping it separate because they want people to come on the apps, and therefore the design of the app is comparatively different from, say, the desktop or the mobile site, right? Web analytics, although it helps you understand that, okay, yesterday maybe 1,000 people came to on my website. Out of them, 10 people have bought a product, so there is a 1% conversion rate, which is fine. But it also helps you understand what exactly is a user clicking on, what is he searching. So, for example, in case of Ferns and Petals, if you don't know what is Ferns and Petals, it's basically a gifting website where we say that for the occasions like birthdays, anniversaries, Valentine's, Rakhi, or even just to say thank you or sorry, we have plethora of options. So you can send bouquets, you can send cakes, you can send some combos, personalized gifts. So there are around 5 to 10,000 different products that we have. So now looking at the web analytics data, we try to understand every day that, okay, what is it that people are searching for? Are they searching for flowers? If flowers, then are they searching for lilies, or they're searching for lotus, or they are searching for tulip or roses? And then if you're searching for roses, then what color of roses are they looking forward to? Are they looking at the red roses or the white roses or the yellow roses? Why this is needed? Because if I know that today people are searching for, let's assume, yellow roses, then I immediately tell my retail operations team that, you know what, people are searching for yellow roses. That means we are getting more orders for yellow roses. That means in now all of our shops that we have across India, let's tell them upfront that, for the next 7 days, 15 days, they need to acquire more of yellow roses rather than red roses, because this is what people are looking forward to. They need a bit of a change. Like this, each and everything is analyzed. We see that, okay, how many people are starting their journey from, say, homepage. Right now on a homepage, how many people are going to the next page? Now let's assume I know that 50% of my people go to the next page. Why rest of the 50% of the people are not going? Then we create so many hypotheses. Is it that they don't like the design? Is it that they don't like the content that we have written? Is it that the links are not working? Is it that there's a difference of behavior? People in Delhi are more engaging, people in Ludhiana are not very engaging, things like that. So we try to analyze all these things. Therefore, web analytics is very, very, very compulsory. And more importantly, you need to first beforehand think of all the possible questions that you need an answer to. So let me just probably give you some more example. I'm sure most of you would have used, say, Zomato or Amazon. Give me a yes if you've already used the apps of Zomato or the Amazons. Great. So in Zomato, if you see, once you place an order, you will see a small widget which says that send tip to the delivery boy, right? And by default, 20, 30, 40 is marked there, right? Have you ever seen that? Great. Awesome. Right now, this is one feature that was created on an app. And why this is done? So that maybe the delivery boys can get some additional incentive or money. And then maybe, this will also keep people engaged, that while you are waiting for your food to come, they show this pop-up at the bottom. So with this, now this has to be analyzed further, because now managing this particular widget or this feature, that needs a lot of resources. They need a lot of technical bandwidth. They need server space and all those things. So if only 1 or 2% of the people click, then most probably what people do is they get away with this kind of a feature. But if they realize that, okay, at least 20, 30% of the people are clicking this, and in terms of total revenue, let's assume it costs around 1% of the total revenue that Zomato has introduced. then this is a good help that they are providing to the delivery boys. That means the stickiness of the delivery boys will stay more with Zomato. So like this, they can do some experiments that, okay, can we bring this feature on the top? Can we bring this feature? So when you click on track my order, maybe this feature has to be there so that, still you can give him some tip. Or as soon as the food order is delivered and they send a notification, maybe they send yet another notification saying that, okay, your food delivered before time. Do you want to give some tip to the delivery boy? So this way they always want to enhance these features. You would have seen how all the apps, all the websites, they are changing over the time. There are product managers or web analytics people who do and track each and every feature. How many people see an image? How many people open the details page? What is it that people are searching for? All these questions just help business to go into the right direction rather than putting your focus across all the products or all the categories. Are you guys with me? So what I just thought was that maybe first 15 minutes, I'll tell you about some basics. Next 15 minutes, I'll tell you about some key metrics that are being tracked. Although there is a long list, but I'll talk about 5, 7, 10 of them. And then the next 15 minutes, I'll actually take you through the web analytics tool called Adobe Analytics that we use at Ferns and Petals, how you can see a few numbers, how you can analyze the data. So that's all we will do, and we'll do it live. So now what is yet another thing that we need to understand is that, okay, what are the best tools in the market that are being used to track the web analytics? So by default, there are two tools. One is Adobe Analytics and another one is Google Analytics. Now, let me just spend a couple of minutes in telling you what is the difference between these two. As you know, one is Adobe product, one is a Google product. Google Analytics has this feature where they say that this tool is free till a particular limit. So let's assume you start a small website today and you say that on my website, maybe I'll sell shoes, right? And since you have just started up, your daily visitors are, let's assume 1,000 or 100,000. So you can implement a code of Google Analytics, and through that you can track for free how many visitors are coming, what pages are they seeing, what was the price of those products, right? What cities are they coming from? How many people are moving onto the next page and then next page and next page? Why are people dropping off from a particular page? Things like that. So Google Analytics said that until unless your monthly visitors are 500,000, this product is free. But after that, if your visitors are more than that, then you have to pay either some money to Google Analytics. When I say some money, it's actually a huge money. It's around, the licenses are approximately 30-40 lakh rupees annually for any company. Or otherwise, the data will be sampled. What does sampling means? For example, let's assume there are 1 million customers that come to your website every month. So what they will do is they'll just pick up the data of 500,000 and they will say that, okay, out of these 500,000, maybe 40% were women and 60% were men, right? But you actually had 1 million customers. It could be that ideally it's the ratio is reverse. So maybe you would be thinking that, okay, my website is men dominating and you're keeping some products related to men, but actually it was women dominating, but because it was a sample data, so you were getting a different kind of a numbers. Adobe Analytics, on the other hand, is a paid product. You have to pay for it. And again, the price is 30, 40, 50 lakh rupees, depending on how big the company is or how big the brand is. And then both the products, they need a bit of an integration with your websites. You have to embed a few codes, and by default, a lot of metrics will start capturing. Which are these by default metrics? How many visitors are coming, how many visits they are doing, how many people are ordering, what pages they are seeing, what pages they are moving from one page to another, how many people are exiting, how many people are bouncing off. And I'll talk about all these things, what is exit rate, what is bounce rate and everything. So which cities are they coming from and all those things, right? But then these are by default metrics. Other than this, there are so many more things which probably every different company wants to see only for themselves. For example, I want to pass that what product people are seeing. Now, the products that are available on Ferns and Petals is very different from Zomato, is very different from Flipkart, is very different from Myntra, right? But all these four businesses, of course, they all also want to see that, okay, what product are people seeing? So everyone passes their own product IDs so that it can be tracked that, okay, on Myntra, are people searching for jeans or t-shirts or women wear or children wear. So this is what they want to track. Zomato wants to track that, okay, are people looking for Indian food or Chinese food or South Indian? What kind of restaurants are they going to? What kind of orders are they buying? Their demand is different. So like this, you have to embed a lot of additional codes, and you need to track all these parameters, which are very, very specific to your business, right? And for this, there's a support that is provided by these companies, Adobe or Google. And then there are some supporting companies who also, you have to pay them to get this initial tracking done. And then you have to raise your request that, okay, what all do I want to track on my website? It's a bit theoretical so far, but yes, I'll take you through each and everything, right? Let me just quickly talk about a few terminologies, but just listen to them very, very carefully. They are confusing. They can be confusing. And in the end, I have a few questions also related to them, right? So to begin with, let's start with the basic three things. One is hit, one is visit or a session, and another is visitor or a user. What is a hit? Every time a customer comes to your website, right? In my case, I am taking an example of Ferns and Petals again and again, because that's the company I work for. So as soon as someone clicks on Ferns and Petals and they open the main page, it's a hit. As soon as the page is opened. Now they click on, okay, let me share my complete screen and take you through the website itself so that it just becomes more clear to you. So what happens is, let's assume as soon as someone comes on this page, okay, so first of all, we get from the Adobe Analytics, we see that, okay, how many people have seen the home page, right? And then this is called a hit. So as soon as the page is open, there's a hit. As soon as I click here, this is a hit. That means so you think from cricket angle that every ball that is being bowled is being tracked. That what has customer clicked? So let's assume I click on this, this is being clicked. I click here, this is being clicked. So this is what happens. Everything is being tracked in Adobe Analytics, right? So the hit means each and every action that a person is doing is being tracked. What is a visit, right? Visit is, or a session is, when a customer comes to a platform and he stays there for the next 30 minutes, right? So let's assume I just opened Ferns and Petals. For the next 30 minutes, if I keep on interacting with this platform, it will be counted as one visit. But what might happen is, I just opened Ferns and Petals, I clicked, and let's assume now I go out for a tea and I come back after 1 hour, but the website is still open on my system. So what will happen in that case? In that case, after 30 minutes of inactivity, automatically it will say that, okay, this visit is already over. Now, if I come back, I do not engage and I just close FNP, nothing will happen. But if I start interacting with it, it will be counted as yet another visit. So you consider this more like you are going into a shop. As many times you are entering the shop within a 30 minutes window, it will be counted as yet another visit. Otherwise, if within the same 30 minutes you are just coming out and going inside the shop, it will be counted as the same visit. 30 minutes is not a rigid time period. You can always change it. You can change it to 60 minutes, 120 minutes, or you can even reduce it to, say, only 15 minutes. So there are a few options that are available. You can always change that, right? What is a visitor? Visitor is basically, in the terminology of web analytics, visitor is never a person, right? Visitor is always a machine, right? It's a combination of an IP. So let's assume if I'm using my laptop right now, this laptop and this browser, which is the Chrome that I was using, will be counted as one visitor, because they will track the cookie and they will say that, okay, this particular machine, this particular browser is one person. Now, what might happen is, let's assume on my system, after say 2 days, now my wife will open fnp.com, right? It will not say that it's another visitor, because they cannot track whether it was a man versus women or husband versus wife. It can always find out whether it was the same machine. And when they say that, okay, it's the same machine, same browser, fine, it's the same visitor. This is how they will treat it. Now, this is of course, this is not the right methodology to do it, right? Therefore, and just go back a few years when we used to go to the cyber cafes, right? So many people used to access Facebook or Gmail from the same machine, right? They're just logging in and logging out, but they might be using the same machines. That means maybe the Gmail would be getting that it's the same person, but it was a different person. So over the time, what they've done is they have brought in the things like, okay, what is the registration email or phone number, and like this, they track it. It has gone to this level now that let's assume I open Ferns and Petals today, then tomorrow, then day after tomorrow, and then continuously for the next 7 days, but I have not logged in, right? I have not logged in. So it's saying that this is the same user, but it cannot give me a name. But on the 8th day, I actually wanted to buy a product and I registered myself. As soon as I registered myself, it will track that, okay, now this IP basically is registered with Rajat Khatri. So all the historic data will also be updated, and it will say that, okay, Rajat Khatri has visited for 8 consecutive days and this is what he has seen, right? And this is how you start giving some name or some dimensions to a visitor who is coming on your platform. The second one is, okay, user-based tracking. So I've already talked about the user-based tracking actually. Need not go ahead with it. The third thing that we track is the conversion rate. Now, most important metrics that we see is how many people are coming on my website and how many people are converting. Now, business to business, there could be a different conversion rate. There are few companies who say that, okay, I want to see how many visits happened yesterday, how many sessions happened yesterday. So let's assume 100 visits were there and 10 people ordered, so 10% conversion rate. However, there are other companies who say that, no, for me, the visit doesn't matter. You might be coming 4 times. It doesn't matter to me. What I want to see is that how many unique visitors are coming. So instead of 100 visits, there were 80 unique visitors. But out of these 80, 10 people have ordered. So that means my conversion rate is 12.5%. So this is how they track. What they both are right. There is nothing wrong with it. It's just that you need to define this definition initially with your business, with your management, and then keep on tracking it the way I have told you. There's a bit of a repercussion of tracking at a visitor level. Why is it? Because when I say that there are 100 visits, I can always track it at the level of, say, device. That, okay, out of these 100 visits, how many visits were on mobile versus desktop, or how many people came from paid traffic compared to organic traffic or direct traffic. So I will get a split of 100. But when I see at a visitor level, the same visitor would have come from a paid channel versus an organic channel versus an email. So he will be tracked 3 times, and therefore the numbers might not match. Very quickly, let me tell you what are these different sources that we are talking about. Okay, so let's assume I went to Google and I said Ferns and Petals, right? Now you see a sponsored ad here, right? If I click this, this becomes a paid search because my company currently is spending some money here to fetch that as soon as people search for Ferns and Petals, basically our website should come on the top. So this becomes a paid visit. And why we want to track this is because, of course, they've spent some money. So they'll say, yesterday we spent 1,000 rupees. From 1,000 rupees, we got at least 40 visits. So this is how we track that, okay, what is my cost per visit? And if people are ordering, what is the cost per order? However, if I click here, right, there is nothing called sponsored here. This is an organic visit or an SEO, right? And I can click it. I didn't click there because I don't want my company to spend money, right? But I'm clicking here because this is free. Now this becomes an organic visit. That means people are searching on Google or Binge or any other such platform, and then they are coming. And if I am just clicking here, this is a direct visit. This means the person has actually entered the page URL and he has come directly. So he remembers your brand. Right? Many times you need not search for food delivery. You know Zomato. That is a direct visit. Why direct visit is important? Because of course you need not spend a lot of money to bring the customers now onto your platform. And similarly, let's assume if I receive an email now from Ferns and Petals and I click there, it will bring me to the platform. So then we track it as that this is more like a direct messaging that people have come from the emails or the SMS or WhatsApp that we are sending to our customers. All right. So this is conversion rate. And then, of course, we track that how many orders did we get online yesterday. right? We also track that how much was the total revenue, because every different product is of a different value. So we need to track that, okay, what is the total revenue that we have generated online? And then we track the ATV. ATV is the average transaction value. So was it that yesterday people was, buying products worth 800 each order, or this has increased to say 850 or 900? Because every day we try to promote different kind of products. Some day it could be expensive cakes. Some days it could be very reasonable bouquets. During the Rose Day and Valentine's Day, we said that, okay, you can send roses to your girlfriend or boyfriend for as low as 500 rupees. And during the events like Karwa Chauth, we say that, okay, you can send the gifts to your wives for as big as 1500 or 2000 rupees. So the ATV keep on changing depending on what we are promoting on the website. Let's talk about bounce rate. Bounce rate is very, very interesting metrics. Bounce rate means when you come to a platform and without doing anything, you close the platform. You have not engaged with it, right? What does engagement means? You can see a small pop-up on my window, right? Great. So let's assume someone came to this page and then he just closed this. So this will be a bounce session, right? Another thing could be that let's assume this pop-up came, these two pop-up came, and now I click this and I click this. So although I've done a click, but still it could be a bounce session because as a hit, we have not entered any coding on this cross. So that means the machine couldn't track that whether the person clicked cross or not, right? So this will be counted as a bounce session. Now I could come here, I might go through the complete home page, and then I say, okay, I don't like anything, and I close. Even this is a bounce session. But what some smart marketers do, as soon as you scroll, we send a hit that, okay, people are now on the second dimension of this page. And that could be an engaging hit. So you can always pass it that this event has to be an engaging or a non-engaging. If it's engaging, so it will say that, okay, this is not a bounce session now. People are engaging on this website. Was it clear, or do you want me to go in detail?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I need to know, let's say someone has a web page and he is actually not, he's scrolling it. Okay.
Yeah.
In Google Analytics 4, I think it has got even a tracking for the scrolling also.
Yes.
So in that case, will it again go for the same if we can say it is a bounce rate? Because there might be a case that he has gone through and he has found what is required. Maybe it's a blog. And
Yeah, that's
he
right.
has found the
So usually
information.
what happens is in case of blogs or any such pages, as I told you, some businesses say that as soon as people scroll, they pass a scrolling as an interactive event. And then they say that, on our blogs, there is hardly 10% of the bounce rate and 90% of the people are engaging, right? So this is more like a hack that you can put on your website, or this gives you some information that at least people came on my page and they have scrolled. Now, if the scrolling also you can send as a hit after say 1 second or 5 seconds or 10 seconds, because many a times people just open, scroll, and then they close, right? Now, if all this is happening within 1 second, ideally this will not be a bounce session because scroll wala hit to chala hi gaya. But then few people, businesses say that, okay, let me pass this event after 2 seconds. Because if the customer has stayed on my page for 2 seconds and then slowly scrolling, then only I will count it as an engaging event. If you remember a very old version of Facebook, when it was like very new, there was just one page of Facebook, right? You only used to scroll and you can
Yes.
only like. I think at that time the sharing was also not an option. I think comment and like
Mm.
were the only options, right? So उस केस
Yes.
में तो Facebook का idly bounce rate हमेशा ही 100% रहेगा because you couldn't change the page. But
Same
then
page.
they would
Yeah.
have of course started putting some interactive events, like if person is liking or commenting or scrolling the photos, then let's pass it more like an interactive event. And that is when they will say that, okay, X% of people are engaging, whereas Y% of the people are coming, scrolling, and then going away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Another metrics is average session duration. So what is average session duration is? Basically, we as a businesses want to see that how much time are people spending on my website. right? For example, on OTT platforms, it's a very important metrics that, okay, how many hours are people spending on, these OTT platforms? What are they watching? And they want that over the time, this time duration should increase, right? So it's not that you are just coming
True.
there and watching a movie for 30 minutes. They want you to spend, or see all the different episodes of the same binge series. And then they say that, okay, our success is that people are spending more time, right? Whereas on normal website, this is a very, very tricky metrics, because as such, Amazon might want people to come and spend more time on Amazon and browse more products, but they also want people to quickly order, right? And don't spend a lot of time in browsing and getting confused. They want people to take quick decisions. A very, very great example of this I always talk about is, if you remember how the ATMs used to work 5, 7 years ago, every time you used to enter your card, you have to enter your PIN, then you need to select what, whether it's a savings account or a current account, then you would select on cash, withdraw cash as an option, then you would enter the money, and then you would enter PIN code, and then printing wala option used to come, and then you will take the card out. So there were like 7 or 8 clicks. But right now, what they've done is they want people to quickly withdraw the cash and move out. So you enter your PIN, it will say that your last by default withdraw was, let's assume 10,000. Do you want to withdraw 10,000? You click 10,000, PIN is already there, done. They are not asking whether it's a saving account or a current account, because automatically they can track from your card what kind of a account you already have. And then they know that most of the people come to withdraw cash. That's why all other options are just there. But by default, withdraw cash option is there. So they have reduced these 7, 8 clicks to just 3 clicks. That is how they want people to quickly come and move out. ATM pe jaake, they don't want people to stay there and take a lot of AC ka baithe hain and aram se they are spending time. They don't want people to do this. So this is how, again, every session duration is a very, very tricky metrics. It again depends upon, if you are content website, maybe you want people to spend more and more time. Blogs hai, articles hai, OTT platforms hai, videos hai, you want people to spend more time. But when it comes to e-commerce, ideally our aim is to reduce this time. I don't want people to spend and read long, long pages. I want you to quickly see the product, order. क्योंकि जितना टाइम मैं आपको ज्यादा दूंगा, उतनी quickly you have a chances of seeing some other product, getting confused, might leave the platform, or some disturbance in between. That means I might not get the sale. All right. So by default, there are things like metrics. Metrics is basically any variable that you want to track. कितने visits थे, कितना session duration था, कितना bounce rate था. So this all is a metric. There's something called dimensions. Dimensions is at what parameter you want to see. तो एक तो आपने देख लिया कि कल मेरा bounce rate 60% है, but then you would like to see कि डिवाइस वाइज कैसे है. तो मोबाइल साइड पे 80% है, ऐप पे 10% है, और डेस्कटॉप पे 40% है, बिकॉज नाउ यू विल हैव डिफरेंट स्ट्रेटजीज फॉर योर डिफरेंट डिवाइसेस, राइट? सो दीज ऑल बिकम्स डायमेंशंस. सिटी डालना उसमें, कौन सा लैंडिंग पेज था वो देखना, these all becomes the dimensions. There's something called a segment. Segment is usually you see the traffic as whole, but then you want to go in detail. So you say, I only want to do the tracking of my desktop. So you will create a small segment. I'll show you how do you create a segments. And you say, I only want to see the track, how the things are moving on a desktop. So you create a segment. अब desktop के जब traffic देख रहे हो, तो let's assume you see that, okay, 50% of the people come from India, 50% of the people come from outside India. And you know the behavior is very different. So you might need to add another segment that, okay, I only want to track how people outside India are behaving. So you can add these conditions in your segment, and you will see only the numbers of people coming on a desktop from outside India. And similarly, you can go to the next level that, okay, only Chrome, only this screen resolution, only from this particular city. Like this, you can keep on adding to your segments, and you can see how people are behaving there. And the last thing is, of course, duration. So you can go as historic as your tool helps you keep the data. You can see at a weekly level, daily level, quarterly level, hourly level, in fact, and all these things we on a daily basis look at it. On the peak days like Rose Day, Valentine's Day, when we have a lot of business, we track each and everything by hour, with how many people were coming, what is the conversion rate, because every hour we have to take a call, whether we should spend more money on the marketing, whether we should reduce the pricing, increase the pricing, so that there's a matching between the demand and the supply, right? I won't talk about the case study right now. Let me just quickly take you through the tool and I'll show you how Adobe Analytics looks like. Okay, just give me 1 second. Too many windows are already open. Okay, so this is the Adobe interface, Adobe Analytics, right? Just for this purpose, I will not show you my live data. I will show you some sample data for sure. Okay, so this is how it opens, right? And by default, it selects the current month, this month. So March 1 to March 31. You all can see the screen, right? All right. So let's assume the first thing I want to see is how many visits are happening, right? So I just drag visits here. So if you could see, it has just given me a count of visits till 10th of, till 11th of March. Even it is giving me some number for today, right? So this is live. That means till this hour, how many people have already come on my website or my testing website, and what is the visit count. So I can always see a trend that, okay, 4th and 5th. I think 4th and 5th would be a weekend, if I'm not wrong. Yes, it has to be. That's why the the visits were less. So now this numbers give me a indication that maybe on over the weekends, I need to spend lesser money on marketing because I know not many people come on my website, right? And then other than this, I can always drag things like orders. So now it is giving me how many orders were placed on these particular days, right? Now, as such, these two metrics doesn't make any inference. So we have created a matrix called conversion rate, and which is nothing but orders divided by visits. So as soon as I see a conversion rate, it just gives me the conversion rate, which is 12 divided by 243, which would be around 5%, like this. Okay. Now, this is the kind of a thing that I see every morning that, okay, how is my conversion rate for today? Okay, it's for today, it's currently at 0%, but maybe for yesterday it was 3.77%. And then I can also do one thing. I can go to visualize, and then I create a line because sometimes the reading of this data is not very clear. So it just creates a trend line for me. And right now it's taking all the three metrics, but I can just unselect these two, and it is giving me a trend line of my conversion rate. Now this becomes comparatively easier for me to see whether my conversion rate is good or bad. Then, or maybe there will be questions like, okay, why was it so high on 2nd March? Rajat, can you deep dive? What we did so well on 2nd that the conversions were so high? Or what did happen on 7th and 8th that the conversions were so low? There was not even a single conversion. So we keep on tracking all these things, right? Let me just spend 5, 7, 10 more minutes in telling you that how I try to answer these questions, right? Because that is what the analysis is all about. You might understand the tool very soon. You might understand the metrics very soon, but how to analyze the data is not everyone will teach you. A typical problem comes to me is, let's assume this only, that, okay, what has happened on 2nd of March that I see such a good conversion rate and there was no event. So the first thing that I'll do is I'll just check all these things for, so let me do one thing. Let me compare 2nd with 1st. Okay, so for that, what I need to do is I'll take only 2nd as a date. Right, so this gives me data only for the 2nd. And if I right click and I say that add time duration 1 day prior to this date range, so now it's giving me 1st ka data also. So automatically it's comparing that maybe my visits were more or less similar, right? Similarly for orders and similarly for conversion rate. So now this is what it's saying, that more or less the number of visits were same on both the days, but the orders increased from 12 to 21. Now the next thing that I would love to see is that, okay, what device has caused this? So we have already created these segments. These are 4 different devices that we have. So I'll do nothing, but I'll just drag it here. And now it will give me a split of, Achha, this might not work here. So let me do one thing. Let me say device. Now this is showing me another thing that, okay, there's something called others. Others in this case means basically it's a desktop mobile device type. When it's nothing mentioned, others is always a desktop. So I say that my desktop is where I've got a much better conversion, right? And my mobile phone and tablet was very small, so maybe I can ignore it. So now the thing is, I'll probably look into what has happened on desktop that day. So another thing that I'll probably check is how are my marketing channels performing? Have I got suddenly some traffic from my paid campaigns? So it shows that there is something called a referring domain. Now, as per my business knowledge, what I know is that there have been some companies who were promoting my product on their website. So maybe on a second, there would be some new company who would have started promoting us, and they would have sent some emails. So see here, I've got this data. There is something called the API.RazorPay. I know these are some fake IDs, but it's fine. So I'm just getting some business from here, right? This is how usually we track the conversion rates. And then not only this, I can also go into things like, okay, where are people going? For example, I'll create a fallout. I'll say page. Again, I have created some filters. So I say that how many people have seen my homepage. So it shows that out of 1169 people who came this month, 376 people have seen my homepage. So 32%. Now, I know that after homepage, people go to a PLP, product listing page, where we see all the products listed. Now I see that, okay, from homepage, another approximately 53% people, they go to a product listing page. And now I can compare this also. So if I have to compare this with first and second, I can do that, and then I can see that.
Can you repeat that line, sir? Hello.
So
Can you repeat?
Sure, Imran. So what I was saying was that I can create a funnel and I can see that, okay, how many people went to my homepage, then how many people went to a listing page where we have all the products shown. And then I can compare this for first versus second. For example, I'll do that. This is my funnel for say 1st of March. And then I do a duplicate. And then I can create a funnel for 2nd of March here. So like this, I can always say that, okay, was there a change in behavior during these days? And are people not engaging on my homepage, or they are not engaging on PDP page? And like this, I can probably add 7-10 more pages also if my flow is like this. And we actually track this, that, okay, how many people went from, I'll show you what I mean by this. So in a normal day-to-day life, this is how people behave on my website. So this is our homepage. We say that let's assume 100 people are coming there. Now, how many people are probably clicking on this and going to a details page? This is what we call as PLP page, product listing page, where all the products are listed. So I know that, okay, maybe if 100 people come there, 50 people come here. And then once people see these products, they would like some product. So let's assume I like this product. So I click here. Now this is what is my details page, right? PDP, product details page, where a detail of any one product is given. So people will see this, they will go through all this information, and then they have to enter this information. That let's assume I want this product to be delivered in New Delhi. I want this. So we track everything. How many people have entered a PIN code, right? Why could people are not entering a PIN code? I want this delivered tomorrow. Let's assume I need a free shipping. I want in the second half to be delivered. So now I track that, okay, out of 25 people who came on this page, 20 people entered a PIN code. 18 people gave me a date. 17 people gave me a time slot. 10 people clicked on buy now. Okay. Then out of these 10, eight people said continue without an add-on, or maybe 8 people said, okay, I need this add-on, and then continue with one add-on. Then how many people actually register? Why we see this is that maybe someday what happens is, and this actually happens on any web portal, maybe this link is not working, maybe, right? So, or login with OTP, maybe this is not working. I'm not even getting an OTP that day. So if I see that there is a drop off, I quickly understand that, okay, maybe the OTP thing is not working. So I tried and work with my technology team to understand that, okay, are we sending the OTPs? Is there a problem with that? And in case there is a bigger issue, then we change this. We probably take away this option and we ask people only to log in through, say, password, because we don't want people to have some concern there, right? And out of 10 people who came here, how many people are entering the address and everything? right? Then how many people enter all these details, then proceed to pay, how many people are paying, what option they use. This is how we track each and every day. The day when the conversion is very, very low, we track that, okay, um, at what stage are people dropping off more? And then we try to analyze further. So let's assume the listing page, we say that, okay, we have actually increased the price, and that's why people are not ready to spend that much of money. So immediate action is to reduce the price further. So this is how we track each and everything on web analytics. As per the thought, this is all I wanted to take you through. I can go in detail about anything that you want to ask for. So let me just make it open now. And if you have any questions, you can ask me there.
So I have one question.
Sure.
Since these are like web analytics that we're tracking, let's say we have done some like off, I mean, offline marketing. Okay,
Mhm.
let's say on like in maybe radio or like, I mean, leaflets or anything of that sort. At that time, how will we track it? We'll track it only through that direct or those things, or any other ways they're out for at least for radio or something of that sort.
Right. So there are many different ways of doing it. And in fact, in my existing company as well as historic companies also, we have done a lot of branding, both offline as well as online. Um, so what we track is that usually if we run a TV commercial, now of course people cannot click on a TV ad and come to my platform. But from that day, before and after, we see how the traffic has increased. So let's assume my daily traffic average for 30 days before this, my TV commercial was 1000, right? And after this TV ad, this has gone to 1200. So we allocate around 200 of this traffic to the TV commercials. Now, people could have done a Google ad and they would have come from a paid, which is still okay, but we attribute that to the TV commercials only.
But these are not like direct correlations. I mean, like this is like saying that there might be a case and that's why it is happening.
That's why if you would have seen someone that these days when people send an ad on in a newspaper, you would have seen a QR code as well,
Yeah.
which actually helps you track this, right?
Okay.
Similarly,
Okay.
instead of
Okay.
TV commercials, we are running YouTube ads because you can click
Yeah.
on a YouTube ad and open a website.
Yeah.
So
That's also
again, you
very
can track it.
segregated ads. Yeah.
True. So this is
And
how we all are enhancing and saying that we want the right tracking of a product, of a
okay.
marketing
And
channel.
okay. So, but then the market mix will also be a better option. I mean, it will also enhance in some way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now that the whole world is changing to an online model, I'm sure very soon all these offline channels, I mean, they would come down. Or many a times, for example,
Hmm.
for radio ads, people give a toll-free number, and then they see that, okay, how many calls are we getting? So that means this toll-free number was actually only given to a on radio as a channel, right? Or if you
Yeah.
see a lot of branding done behind the autos, they have a very
Hmm.
special coupon code written there. So then they
Hmm.
track that, okay, how many people are ordering through this coupon code, and they attribute these sales only to that branding.
Okay. Okay. And
Yeah.
you said in the initial time, sir, that since we are using that, we can attribute to the fact that if there are 10, I mean, 2, 3 sessions done, and after that, that person comes and registers himself, then we attribute the previous historical data with that person only, and let me do it. Even if
Yes,
that
that
case is done, yeah, even if then how long he will track it? I mean, for historical means how long historical? Maybe he
see.
has come.
Hmm.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
in this
So,
case, what happens is every tool gives you an option to store the data. And, depending upon the cost that you are incurring and the event count and hits. So I have not gone into that, but there is something called that. Let's assume I pay 40 lakh rupees and I say
mm,
there is 100 million hit count that I have.
mm,
Now I have to track that in annually, how much hit counts am I doing? Let's assume my hit count is only 30 million. And
mm,
so that means I still have scope to increase. So I'll say that, okay, instead of 2 years data, maybe you can keep 5 years of a data, right? And in that case, now that I have 5 years of a data, so I can stitch back this user journey to 5 years. But let's assume I'm a very huge company who is getting lots of visitors every day, but I don't want to spend more money in these tools. Then I say that, okay, let me just keep the data for only 6 months. I might not be going very, very historic.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. And if someone, let's say, uses the same laptop or same desktop for, let's say, me and my wife, are maybe using the same laptop for the same registered device. Is the segregation of that same person targeting them done after that or in the time only when they are doing? Like, let's say your user behavior habit will be different and someone
Yeah.
else will be different. So when as soon as he starts searching, is the whole thing gets replicated in that format or it's remains the same? I mean the default one.
So Suman, again, what will happen is whatever you decide by default. So let's assume
Yeah.
I say that by default, I will track my visitors on a IP basis. So in that case, even if me and my wife are using a separate phone, but same Amazon account, it will be counted as two different visitors. But if now I am tracking on the basis of registered email ID, and even the same email ID is now registered on two different phones, so it will say that this is the same user. So it all depends upon your use case. It all depends on the kind of a tracking that you have embedded, and it all depends upon what kind of results you want to see, your definitions.
Okay, so even the behavior can also be tracked, right?
Sorry, what can be tracked?
The behavior, like you and your
Yes,
wife are using it, and then the
absolutely.
behavior is getting tracked, and whenever he is starting to search for something, then itself the consent panel will understand that now this is for the wife who is doing it, and this is for the husband who is doing it, right?
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Thanks. Thank you, sir.
So in
sure.
chat, we can see one question is how can you track pogo sticking behavior? That is, for example, when users go back and forth between product listing page and product details page. How do define the metric segment in Adobe Analytics and how do you track it?
So, Akanksha, what happens is right now the way we have or the kind of services that we have taken from Adobe is more like it shows the cumulative study. So it tells me more like if 100 people are on page one, how many see page two, how many see page three, right? It doesn't help us go at a user level. For a user level, there's a separate product of Adobe, which you need to buy or you need to invest in. Or most of the companies, what they do is they track this data in-house in their own servers. And then you can stitch. So you can say that, okay, I want to understand that, uh, for example, email ID, Akanksha, what has she seen? And then I can, through a query, I can fetch it out that, okay, at 10:11, Akanksha has seen product one. Then at 10:12, she has seen product two. Then at 10:13, she went back to the product one. Then she went back to the homepage. So like this, you can craft the complete journey of single user. So all these things are possible. And it's possible in Google Analytics also. It's possible in Adobe also. It's possible at your in-house server storage also. The only thing is that for all these things, there is always a cost involved. And companies are very, very sensitive related to cost, which you know nowadays. So then they have to craft a strategy that, okay, what all do we want to track through a tool versus our in-house servers?
Excuse me, sir. Hello.
Yeah,
Excuse me,
Somik,
sir.
just one second. Akanksha, I think I was able to answer it.
Yes, thank you. That helped. I just had one quick query. Can you do this
Yeah.
at an aggregate level? So for like, for example, you're looking at a sale period for an
Yeah.
e-commerce company,
Hmm.
and you are looking at across categories, across products. So is that possible to do at an aggregate level, or do you have to do it at individual level and then extrapolate it for the aggregate levels?
See, in that case, what I would do is I would create a funnel.
Mhm.
In my example, what probably I would want to see is that, okay, how many people came on a cakes page, then how many people actually went to see a flower, and then probably they came back on a cake and they finally ended up buying a cake. So I'll create a funnel of that, and
Mhm.
that is how I'll get the answers.
Got it. And you'd probably look at a Sankey data visualization chart for the same, just
Yes,
to track the
yes,
user. Okay, got it.
that's right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Amit. Yeah.
Sir, could you explain me, so which one is better, Adobe Analytics or Google Analytics?
Okay, so I think this question is already asked by Daisy also. It's not about which one is better, right? I have already told in initially also that Google Analytics, it starts as a free. So if you are very small company or you have a blog or you have some website where up till 500,000 people are coming, you can get started with a Google Analytics, but they will have a limited scope of analytics that you can do, right?
Yes,
Both
sir.
the products, they track the same thing. It's like Ola and Uber. There's no
Yes,
difference,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So it's like that only. The only thing is there's a bit of change in the interface. 90% of the features are same. there are only maybe something or some definitions which might stick to only your business, then you can get into that whether I need a Google Analytics or Adobe, but otherwise both are more or less these products are same. So nothing is better or worse.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Then Shivani asked, can you please repeat the Amazon
Yes.
example? I am sorry, Shivani, I forgot what I told about Amazon. Maybe you need to remind me.
It's about the husband and the wife using the same IP, and
Right.
they'll track that one.
True. So yeah, the example that I was giving is, and this is a live example. So me and my wife, we use the same credentials because we have taken Amazon Prime, right? So now we have logged in through the same credentials on 2 different devices so that she's not dependent on me and I'm not dependent on her to place an order. So if me as a business, me as Amazon want to track that, okay, how many different visitors came yesterday, then probably I'll look at a visitor report and it will track that these as 2 different users because these are 2 different mobile phones, right? However, since this is also very common that the same user keeps 2 different mobiles, right? It's very common these days. And maybe he's actually using, there's the same person who's using on 2 different devices. In that case, the company want to track, okay, let me go by the user ID or user registration, email or phone number or whatever it is, right? And so in that case, it will track this as 1 user only, irrespective of who actually was using your credentials.
All right. Thank you.
Okay,
So
so
these
Google and
is
Adobe
commenting.
use their own products to analyze or competitor products. Okay, I'm not very sure. I'm sure Google would be using Google Analytics and Adobe would be using Adobe Analytics only. All right, let's quickly look at these questions and answers. So in the first question, if a user visits at 10, engages at 10:29, so which is fine, this is still 1 visit. And let's assume he has been still be engaging till 10:45. So this will continue to remain 1 visit, right? Now he's gone out at 10:45 and returned at 11:30. How many visits has he made? Actually at 11:30, his second visit will start. So right answer is 2, which I think most of the people have already done. If a user comes to a website, sees a pop-up and closes it where we don't have any tracking available, then closes the window. Is this a bounce session or engaging? Yes, it's going to be a bounce session because we didn't have any tracking available there. So 7 out of 8 people have done it right. You had visited a website at 10:24 on Chrome, and since it wasn't working, you opened the same website in Window Edge. How many sessions will there be? These be? Okay, I think now this is a out of syllabus question because I didn't talk about it. But what happens is IP and your browser version is how they track a user. So in this case, what will happen is it will become 2 different users and of course 2 different sessions. So 2 visitors, 2 sessions is the right answer. Thank you so much for having me again here. And yes, it was an engaging session for sure. So people were active on the pool, on the chat. So good work there.